Okay, so this is still that I can graph linear equations. And this time we are going to graph given an equation, okay, so instead of given points. So first thing we're going to do is this x equals a number / a constant. So remember, a constant is just a fancy word for a number without a variable attached to it. Okay, so this one says x equals -2. So x equals -2 is right here. And then all the points where x is -2 fall above and below it. So this time we're going to do a vertical line, and we're going to connect it with the edge of your ID. Okay. Next up, we've got y equals a constant. Okay, so there is no x in this one. So we've got y equals -2. So I'm going to draw a point at -2. And then all the other points where y is -2 all fall along this line. All those points have y is -2. So again, I'm just going to connect it, and this time it's a horizontal line. So that means when x equals a constant, it's a vertical line, and when y equals a constant, it's a horizontal line. So what about if you have slope-intercept form? So I'm sure you guys remember back in the day, slope-intercept form is that y equals mx plus b. So y equals mx plus b, and that's the most important part right here. Okay, and b is the y-intercept, okay, where the line crosses the y-axis. You could write it as a point with 0b if you want, and then plot it, or you could just know it crosses the y-axis there. And m is the slope, so make sure it's a fraction. Okay, if you end up with a whole number, you want to make sure you put it over 1, okay, and it'll turn it into a fraction. So whole number over 1, okay, and that 1's kind of hard to see. Okay, so it's rise over run. So the slope from b to get, use rise over run from the, which is the slope, from b to get your second point, and then we're going to draw the line. So this time, remember, it's y equals mx plus b. So that means m is 2, and b is -1. So start with plotting the y-intercept, which is -1. And then the slope this time, we got to turn it into a fraction, so it's over 1. So the rise is up 2 because it's positive, and the run is to the right 1. So up 1, 2, up 1, 2 over 1. Okay, and then I'm just going to connect it with my ID. Okay, so this next one, again, y equals mx plus b. So we've got m this time is -2/3, and b is 4. So my y-intercept is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And my rise is -2, so that means down 2. And my run is +3, so that means right 3. So rise is down 2, and my run is 1, 2, 3 to the right. Okay. And then I'm going to connect this with a line. Okay. So notice these two. This one had a positive slope and it was going up. This one had a negative slope and it was going down. Okay, so that's how you know if your slope is correct. Now, what if it's in any other form than y equals mx plus b? Okay, what if it's in any other form? So if it's in any other form, what you're going to do is you're going to get it back to y equals. You're going to get it into slope-intercept form, that y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to solve for y. So that means I have to move everything else away from it. So I'm going to move the 3x first. So I got -2y equals 12 minus 3x. Notice how I couldn't add those up because they weren't like terms. And then I got to get rid of the 2, -2. Remember, that was multiplied, so to undo it, I divided. Okay, so that cancels out. So I got y equals. And then we're going to do what I like to call butterfly math here. Okay, and if you look at it, you draw a circle around each term with the bottom. So it kind of looks like a butterfly. Okay. So 12 divided by -2 is -6. -3 divided by -2, well, that's positive, and negative make positive, and that's 3 over 2x. Okay, so this time, remember, it's y equals mx plus b. So the thing with the x is your m. Okay, so our m is 3/2. And this time, our b is the constant, and b is -6. So I start at -6, and my slope is rise of 3, so that's up, and a run of 2, so that's to the right because they were positive. So up 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2 over. Okay, and then I'm just going to connect it. that was just one example of another form. If you actually close your foldable, you're going to find some more, okay? So we got to get y by itself. So in order to get y by itself, I have to move x. So I have to add x to both sides. So I end up with y equals -3 plus x. They weren't like terms, so I didn't combine them. And remember, it's y equals mx plus b. So the thing with x right now, oh, it's just x. So remember, there's an invisible 1 there. So the m this time is 1. And we need it as a fraction, so it's actually 1 over 1. Okay? And our b this time is -3. So we start at -3. And then our rise is up 1, and our run is to the right 1. So up 1 over 1. Once I have my 2 points, I'm just going to connect them. Okay. Next problem. Okay, so this one, the y is already by itself, but you see how we have 3 over this under this whole thing? So let's do a little bit of butterfly math to make it easier. So we've got y equals -5 over 3. That is not a nice number. I'm just going to leave it. Okay, and then 15 over 3. Well, that's 5. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So this time, I got my m is -5 over 3, and my b is 5. So I'm going to start at 5, and then my rise is -5, so that means down 5, and my run is 3, so it goes right 3. So down 5, 1, 2, 3 to the right. And then we're just going to connect it. Okay, last problem. Again, got to get y by itself. So I'm going to move the x first. Okay, or move whatever's next to the y. Okay, so I got 8 minus 6x. Now I have to get the y actually by itself. So there's that 2 right there, so that's times 2. So I've got to divide by 2. So that'll cancel out. So I got y equals, and then this is butterfly math again. So 8 divided by 2 and -6x divided by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. -6x divided by 2 is -3x, because 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so y equals mx plus b. The thing with my x is that -3. And the b this time is 4. So 4, and then this is -3 over 1. So my rise is down 3, and my run is to the right 1. So 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. And then I'm just going to connect those two. And that is how you graph a linear equation. Okay, so given an equation in any other form. Hope you enjoy.